Hey everyone, Token Dave over here, the dorky token black guy who's just trying to get by. So I made a New Year's resolution to review more black movies throughout the year. And I did do a couple, but not as much as I wanted to. And I plan to have this half, the fall of 2018, to try to make up for that. But since trying to be proactive with my job search and everything, because I'm worried about additional layoffs happening, yeah, that's on hold indefinitely. So I figured, you know what, since I made that resolution, I'm not going to keep it. I will at least let you know what I had planned. So these are the black movies that I plan to review at the end of 2018. August is around the corner, and in New York City, there's something called Harlem Week. If I remember correctly, Harlem Week is the second or the third week of August. Now it's like a month-long celebration. And I was going to focus on two movies. One was Across 110th Street. Across 110th Street is something that I consider a new noir. There's a film noir, which mostly is like from the 30s all the way to the 50s. And I consider new noir from the 60s all the way to the early 90s. And this deals with basically two cops having to find money that was stolen, from a professional robbery, but that got lost. The robbers got robbed, and this was to show basically, how if this money wasn't found, how it would affect the criminal underworld in Harlem, as well as negatively affect the citizens. And there were two cops, a black lieutenant played by Yebet Kodo, for those that don't know that name, Parker from Alien, Mr. Big from Live and Let Die, and the black dude is Running Man. And he was a lieutenant, as well as his partner was a police captain who was very racist and displayed racism in the police department in a very nuanced way for the 1970s. Next was going to be Superfly. Superfly is on most people's minds right now, mainly because of the remake that came out a couple of weeks ago. And I was going to talk about that. That was going to lead into a token topic on blaxploitation, which that still might happen, by the way. And it was to show how, at that time, people thought that, the best way to get ahead if you were a minority was through the criminal underworld and the life of crime. But it was to show that basically that career choice has an expiration date, and those that stay in the game very long are very fortunate, as well as they try to get out of it. But it's almost always too late to get out of there, and Superfly displayed that. In September, I was going to do a going back to school celebration by reviewing School Days, which is also Spike Lee's movie, and since I plan to go back to school as well too, as well as most people are. Also, that was going to be my kickoff of a bit of a Spike Lee filmography, because I plan to review Malcolm X in next Black History. So this is going to be my lead into that. And later on that month, I was contemplating reviewing his first movie, She's Gotta Have It, and then later on, the Netflix TV series, that was a maybe. And judging by Mel the Menace right over here, I think that was not that good of an idea. So maybe I should have scrapped that. Anywho, in October, for Helltober, my celebration of horror and Halloween in the month of October, I was going to review JT's Revenge. Last year, I reviewed Bones, which is basically about the ghost of a hustler from the 70s that takes place in 2000, literally the year 2000. So JT's Revenge is pretty much the original version of Bones, where it takes place in the 70s, and it's about the ghost of a hustler from the 1940s. And Bones is not a good movie, I'll be honest, but it's a guilty pleasure of mine. JT's Revenge, that's not a good movie. Alright? Flat out telling you all this right now. And then I was going to also review The Beast Must Die, which is considered the black werewolf movie. Werewolves are my favorite movie monsters, all right? Especially when you ask me what's my favorite Universal monster, the Wolfman. So I love werewolves. And, you know, I can't consider it a black werewolf movie, but it is a werewolf movie that has the most African Americans or black cast, you know, because this movie has the lead of Peter fucking Cushing. Need I say more? But the lead supporting role goes to Kevin Lockhart, who is famous for playing Biggie Smalls in Uptown Saturday Night. So yes, Christopher Wallace got the name Biggie Smalls from that movie and from that actor. Little trivia for you. And then November was going to be Thank You for Giving, and I was going to focus on Wesley Snipes, my hero when I was a kid. You know, the first movie that I was going to talk about was Money Train. One of my favorite New York movies, you know. It's an okay, fun time movie. And you got the team of Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson. Every time they teamed up, it was always good. And then, before she was damaged goods, you know, Jennifer Lopez. You'll hear about my animosity towards her in the future. And then I was going to talk about Rising Sun. You know, we got Wesley Snipes, Sean Connery, awesome team in a movie that has to deal with Japan. You know, and you guys know how much I love Japan. And it was written by my favorite author at the time, Michael Crichton, you know, and I was also going to do an adaptation application. The next movie was a toss-up between Jungle Fever and One Night Stand, you know. More likely it would have been Jungle Fever because to a degree I identify with that movie a little bit more, and a lot of the themes that happen around that I really understood, you know. One Night Stand is a movie that I will tackle though because, you know, A, it's a Wesley Snipes movie, and B, it's one of the Wesley Snipes movies where he actually acts, you know. So, yeah, that was a contemplation. And I was going to end it off with Art of War, the last movie Wesley Snipes did before the Blade sequels and Expendables 3, you know. So, those were the black movies that I intended to review for the latter half of 2018. Have you all heard these movies? What were your thoughts? Please drop them in the comment section below. Give me a like. Follow me on Facebook at Token Dave or on Twitter at Token Dave 80. Subscribe and ring that bell so you know when a new video loads. But until then, this has been Token Dave, dorky token black guy who's just trying to get by. I'll catch all of y'all later.